It takes a lot of ingredients to fix or build a car, like cooking, but without the frozen dinner easy way out. eBay Motors has 122 million parts. It's always the right fitment, so you can follow any recipe to a T. Whether it's a vintage Italian coupe that's classic like Grandma's meatballs or a German luxury car that's as complicated as Oma's rouladen, to cook up something great in the garage, use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Holidays are here, and so is fashionable fitness. Gift yourself a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G, a phone that folds in half to literally stand on its own. Pair it with the Galaxy Watch 4 for ultimate wellness and wow factor. Check health stats, flex personal records. Over 90 activities can be tracked, like biking, swimming, golfing, and more. Invest in yourself with tech made to crush goals. Holidays open up with Galaxy. Shop it all at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier. Products sold separately.
La 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 la, la 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 la, Elmo's World.
Welcome to the Elmo's World podcast. Okay, welcome to the Elmo's World podcast. This is Elmo Ador Jr., your host, and I have Dalton Serdynski. He is 30 years old. He lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he studied technology information and switched to business management. And I can say that this guy knows a lot about philosophy. He's been studying it for 4 years. And I want to talk to him about life and a lot of questions that I think a lot of people would be interested in how he would answer it personally. So, Dalton, can you introduce yourself and then answer this question? What do you think is the meaning of life?
Oh, for me to answer that question, the meaning of life, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll give a quick answer. It's 42. If anyone out there knows that reference.
Okay, so can you explain that reference for those who don't understand?
Hold on. Let me turn that off. Perfect. The reference 42 comes from the Universal Guide to the Galaxy, and that reference, that number has been scientifically found to be the number that correlates with Earth itself. So I think it's 42 or 43, can't remember off the top of my head, but basically we are a part of the world and this Earth, so to speak. And that kind of correlates that we are in harmony with, if we're in harmony with its nature, we're in harmony with the world, we are one with life, and life becomes, more easier to manage if you're not trying to manipulate it into something else, something different. But I would say that finding that answer could just be too bland, too empty for some characters. And I think it has to be figured out from one's own perspective to really have any grandeur or any kind of finesse or beauty to it, so to speak. Because thinking or talking too much about it, it loses its roots. So 42 is just the simple answer, but the big answer I would say is just loving the life that you have on this world and just moving with it, like flowing with the river, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it, but a lot of hard nihilists would barely disagree with you because what you just said, like love life, getting in the flow of the river, those are basically social constructs, and you just made that up. But that doesn't mean that is a meaning that you created. It doesn't exist, and you cannot live according to something that doesn't exist and you just made up.
And that's true too. There's no labels. There's no real way to really describe what is and what isn't. The truth of it all, like nihilists do have a kind of a good perspective of it. Those who talk don't know, and those who don't talk know. And there's really no right answer to it, because if it comes down to trying to describe a question, you're just going to have me just sitting here just silently meditating with you in spirit, basically. and we would get nowhere. But just to kind of have the fun of just the podcast itself, I'll throw out an answer out there and just see what comes back at me. I like to see what you have in mind for me as well. I enjoy it.
So I'm getting a vibe where you're sort of accepting the irrationality of everything. Yeah, okay, that there's no meaning to anything. Fine, I'll make something up. But so what if I follow something that I made up? Like, there is no meaning. I'm just living life according to its own meaninglessness. Is that you're trying to give?
I wouldn't say that. I think you just have to make your own decision on what is and what isn't, and just flow with it. I think the storyline is based off the character itself. Egotistically, me just talking about life and saying this is this and this is that is going to be wrong, of course. But the thing is to make it beautiful in your own mind. And my mind likes to paint a portrait, like a nice sunset over the beach or a horizon, or seeing painting a picture of romance and love and connecting with one another in one way or form. It's just how you want to cast your light into it, and it's fine if it's wrong, and it's fine if it's not. It's just, I think, really comes down to dealer's choice. And if nihilists want to be nihilists, that's great. If you want to be an atheist, that's great. I think everyone serves a purpose in one way or form, and we learn off of each other in one way or another.
I completely see your point, but then I guess it would be whatever you believe, whatever your world is, it is a dealer's choice. But then a lot of dealers would say there's an urgency towards being in the right choice, right? For example, a lot of Christians would say, "Oh, we're right," and if you're not following what we believe, you're gonna go to something that you're gonna regret. Same with Islam, same with others. And so how would you react to this urgency or this danger that they're sharing with you?
I've had a family that's been in the Christian background, and I'm open for myself. I'm like agnostic, or just I'm open to everything, or ominous. I can't remember the word. But when it comes to that urgency, hey, you need to believe in this now. It's like, hey, I want you to get in this taxi ride with me. You need to get in this taxi because it's a good taxi driver. That's fine and dandy, but I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go and accept what you're saying is the time or place. Life has me here for a reason, and it doesn't have to be constructed to one way or another. And I do get it that you'll be damned for eternal. Okay, so what? That's my choice. That's my burden to bear. It's not someone else's choice to grab my hand and say, hey, come over here to Islam because Allah sees you doing that over there and he's not accepting that. Okay, well, I'll have a nice day, Allah. Have a nice day, friend. And I'll be over here suffering my own way. Or, with the Christianity aspect, a lot of family, you need to be saved. You need to be committed. You need to be committed to this philosophy or this religion. And it's like, thank you, but I'll get there when my body and my mind tell me to go there. I have to mentally somehow accept that, but it's, for me, I just see it as therapy. I look at religion and that urgency is just therapy, and that fear kind of gives them that drive that they are doing something with their life. Like, oh, hey, I got it, guys, just join me now. Let's just get on this bandwagon and we'll all be saved. Okay, great. Have fun. It's just like you said, with existence. People make existence. People made anxiety. But really, when you were born, was there like a guideline that said, hey, you need to follow this construct, you need to follow these rules? No, I believe that with my experience and my story, I felt more against following people, and I felt like I needed to go my own way to express my own self, and that's where I come to that point where you said, should I follow their urgency? No. When someone says, hey, get out of the rain, lightning could strike you. Yeah, but if it doesn't strike me and I'm in the rain and I'm taking a shower, I just got a free bath, But some people will be like, "Oh, you could get shocked." Well, did I get shocked? No. It's like that sense you said earlier. If everything's fabricated, then you're only doomed to what you fear. You're doomed to what you imagine. And I think that when people take those philosophies and religions too far, they get lost and they start panicking and they start leaving. Like, this is it. This is when we all go. And I think like religion's taken too far out of context sometimes, and I feel like that's where people panic, is when they read too into things, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I guess contrary to what you said, that you were born with a guideline, I would say that a lot of Christians say that, oh, the Bible is the guideline, and you have to interpret it in a way that is right and according to how we believe, right? And so that would be a guideline for a lot of people. And how would you look at that?
If it's the baseline for how humans should act, then we would all be perfect. There wouldn't need to be a Bible. Everyone would be following it. Everyone would be in harmony. Everyone would be at some sort of peace, so to speak. But there is a disconnect. There is people who don't believe in it. There's nihilists. There's people who are atheists. There's people who are different styles of religion. Why is, if the Bible's the one true manual to life, why isn't it accepted all over? And of course, let's convert. Like when I looked at statistics, I think it's a big margin of 20%, 40%. And I don't do numbers either, because numbers are always iffy on who's on what end and what scale. But I think like it doesn't even matter if the whole scale was 100. I still think a person should have their mind and just figure out what that is to themselves. What religion relates to you is more important than following what a person say is true. I had a lady for fun. I was moving, and a lady who was a Mormon came up and said, "Oh, you guys are moving. It looks like you're almost done. I wish I could help." And she rolls up her sleeve, and I said, "No, no, 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 no. We got this. You don't have to do anything." And she was blessing us and all this kind of stuff. And then I said, I'm just so thankful Satan was here to be able to help me pick up the couch and get it into this truck. And, she was in shock. And I didn't really, really worry about it, but like, it really like ruffled her britches. And she was just like, "Okay, do you want us to help with anything else? You good?" And everything. "I'll be fine. Satan will be fine. My brother will be fine. We're all Gucci." And she walked away, and then down the road, after she talked to another house, she started crying out in the middle of the road. And I was just like, "Oh man, something really bad must have happened." But I think also messing with people's minds and not, being more free. I think some people sort of, are too held on to an idea, and it hurts them in some way or form, if that makes sense. So I don't really hold on to like guidelines of a Bible. So, one other thing, I need to breathe. One other thing with the Bible. There is a chapter in there that I looked into when I was doing Bible study in Wyoming in 2013. And the Bible says, if you are a good man, you don't need the Bible. It's not there for people who know God, who know good and are good with life itself. It's there for those who are misguided, who are hurting, or who are feeling damned or forsaken. And these guidelines help them get back to a natural connection with life and God, so to speak. So I took that to heart, that do you really need guidelines to live, as you say? Like, we're just making things up right now, and I'm fabricating things, as you say. Then, really, who is to say what is true and what's not, Sorry for rambling so much.
It's okay. I like it more if you just keep talking, But and that in how you interpreted the verse, well, I guess that a lot of Christians would interpret it differently, but I completely agree that the Bible is a book that edifies. It helps people improve. and it's there for those who need it. But then I guess there are also a lot of counter arguments to its validity and its reliability. But okay, let's move away from the Bible, and let's talk about how would you define what is right or wrong? How would you do
Oh,
it?
that's a good question. It comes down to an old saying that was said to me and that resonated really well. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? But what is a bad man but a good man's job? I think good or bad is just a description of left or right, and left or right can't be defined without having the right or left. Or if you say up and down, it can't be up unless there is a down. Good and evil, so to speak, or good and bad or bad intentions, I think come from, pain, suffering, anger, hatred, from, I guess, if you want to put Bible terms, sins. But to me, technically, it's just to describe one person doing one way and one person doing another. It's a good man can live a long life doing good and be revered, great. And a bad man can live fast and have all his desires met and be, full of evil, or be, all this cruel and die early. That's fine too, or whichever. Or it could be vice versa. Really, the good and evil just comes by your intentions, how you're feeling. If I'm feeling like just anger and hatred and mad and dark, I'm going to do evil shit. But if I am, feeling like, if I have a sense of like peace, compassion, love, and patience, and simplicity, and I feel harmonized, I'm going to do good. But that still, again, fabricated does not make it truth. So therefore, what is good and evil? It's just a description to define something that, is something that's, how should I say, less traveled, a road less traveled. The better route is to go with the flow of life, go with good, go with the harmony and flow of things, instead of trying to bridge off things and make it difficult for yourself and others. But then again, how I see good and evil, it's just a construct. It's you're gonna make these mistakes. You're gonna make good choices, and you're gonna make bad choices, and those choices are going to reflect on what you want in your life. And if you want bad choices, go for it. That's what your mind is set to. That's your business. If I'm set to doing good for now, it can change. Then I'm going to let that flow until, I come to an impasse. And if I have to switch, I switch. If I don't, I don't. The thing is, life will let you know when that good or bad is happening, because how you feel, and how you feel does not have a description. It doesn't have a label that says, hey, this is evil. No, it's just like, hey, this feeling saying I need to do this, and I'm going to do it. And then you go and do it. And then someone will like, oh, that's bad. Well, okay, that's bad. Play the villain if you have to play the villain. If people don't understand where you're coming from with good, and they paint you as a villain, be the best villain you can for them. And if they don't want your love, that's fine. Take it elsewhere. I floated around a lot of people who are hurting. I remember a time when I was in the psych ward with a man who lost his wife, and it was his soulmate. And he was such a rugged character. Like, he was just a tough guy. He rode motorcycles. He was just really fucking hardcore, excuse my language. And he just had this energy about him. And I went to him one day jokingly and said, I love you. And he says, you say that one more time, I'm going to rip your tongue out. And he was just not cool with it. So I said, okay, and just walked away. And nothing bad happened, because he's not mad at me. He's just suffering because of his wife being gone. And I don't take it as evil. Other people in the room were like, whoa, that's a flex, or whoa, that escalated. But to me, I was just like, he's just hurting. I don't need to mess with him. I don't need to say anything to him. Let him vent, let him deal, let him cope, whatever he got to do, because he's suffering. And me being who I am, I just know to listen to the signal that, hey, don't press it. Don't keep saying I love you to a person that doesn't want it. and I went my own way, if that makes sense. So good and evil, it's just how you feel emotions, energy, things that just tilt you one way or another, so to speak.
Yeah, I really appreciate the fact that you recognize that what is good, what is evil, it's just social constructs. Then, for example, if you anyone would look at a something that is good, for example, it is not really good inherently, but is good when in their own abstract interpretation and with the factors of how they were taught social about social constructions, about what is good, what is bad. And so there is no innate or inherent good or beauty in anything. It's just how we as biological beings interpret it, right?
I would agree. That sounds pretty on point. That sounds more of a technical or more scientific term, I so to speak. So I definitely agree with that, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, then if there is no inherent or innate good, then um, any logical action you would take to pursue any good would be absolutely ridiculous, right? Because you know for a fact how things work mechanically and technically. You know that you just love your family because of evolution and social constructs or whatever, and knowing that everything is some sort of illusion, you would be in a way enlightened and see that everything is meaningless. And so you would actually, in a logical way, hold no value whatsoever for anything that is socially constructed. Am I right?
It's just something like that for sure. Like I've been pushed to a point where I lost everything to my character, so to speak, and I was just losing my own self. And once like all those kind of layers of fear kind of melted away after like facing death and facing like, oh no, I lost this, I lost that, not I lost these people, I lost these friends, I lost these family, and after dealing with so many losses, finally I saw the bright side and was like, can you really take anything with you to death? No, you can't. You can't carry your body to death. You can't carry your jewelries and items and artifacts. You can't carry your friends, your loved ones, and families. Basically, you are a vessel for the use of Earth itself, and in a way, it's just like you're loaned a body and a skeleton, but at the end of it you go back to the universe, you go back to the great the philosophy of Taoism, you go back to the center, you go back to the Tao itself. And that's how I kind of like hope with it. I would say that's my therapy, so to speak. But yeah, the construct of family, you don't have to love them. And I mean, I'm saying I do love my family, but you guess what? Family can be very difficult. Family can be very evil. Family can be manipulative, abusive, and can be really toxic to your character and to your path. So what do you do about that? You have to either let that rule you or let it go. And depending on the person and its character or storyline, and I'm saying storyline as a metaphor to someone's life, you gotta choose what's important to you and
Yeah,
what.
but what I meant was that even with a really loving family and community, and when you dig deep into the facts, you understand that there is actually no you. There is actually no connection that is actually should cause you to show any love or be actually good when you look at the facts, right? And so I guess that how I love how you put it, that you're using Taoism as a way to cope it, because you have in some way an invisible connection with the universe, and that your consciousness is a gift. But that I guess that you're using social constructs to cope with the fact that social constructs don't have meaning at all, right? Am I wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say you're wrong, but I would say that good does actually promote good growth. So I would say in one small aspect, a character who follows me around and says, Dalton, you're really good at this video game. Can I follow you and just talk to you? Of course you can. And every time we would play in the beginning, let's say the first couple matches, Dalton, I'm really holding you back and I'm sucking. I'm sorry. And I would tell him, don't beat yourself up like that. You're a good conversation. And I always need a companion there just to come and watch me do what I do. And maybe one day you'll get there. 15, 30, maybe 60 matches in. Dalton, I'm still sucking at this game and I'm not doing well. I wish I was better. Just keep practicing like a peon becoming a sword master. You have to take 1,000 strikes to become that master. And when you get there, you will see. Then we play for 6 days in game time. And he spent about 400 to 36 matches in. Dalton, I am able to take out swarms of people. I'm able to take out squads of characters. I'm able now to believe in myself. And now I just sit back and I sit like in a lawn chair, just hanging out, and he does all the work. And he's like, man, I feel really great. I'm doing a lot better, and now I have people following me. And he says, thank you. And I say, no, you did it yourself, man. I was just there, and you were just there to follow me. That's all it was. And that person now takes what I've done, and now he has people following him. And then that kind of creates a cycle of harmony that, hey, now he didn't believe in himself. Now he has enough belief that people want to believe in him as well. And that's now that's a ripple effect. It doesn't matter that I did that. And I could have told him just to, go off and do your own thing. I could have, wanted not to do anything at all. I could have just set fire to everything and just laughed at the world burning. I could have, but I don't. And the thing with my person or character, I see myself mostly just like a tree. I just sit, I meditate, I listen, and I reflect back what was given to me. And those masters, those Zen masters, those grand masters, those teachers, those people who shared their knowledge when I was suffering, I reflect it back, and it ripples from their personal experiences. And I take those experiences, and as I'm walking through life, someone will go, Dalton, I'm scared to go out at night. Can you walk me to my car? Sure. And it means nothing to me to walk her to her car. It means nothing, that she's scared. But walking to her car, she says, thanks, man. It's really good to have people who are out there wanting to help people. And it makes me feel more safe that you were here to make sure I was safe. No problem. No skin off my back. And I just go off and walk into the darkness like it's no freaking problem. Or say another situation where I went I was feeling fat. Like I got some weight under my belly. And I was at the pool just doing some laps. Some kids were inspired by my tenacity to swim back and forth 12 laps. They decided to go in the deep end. Guess what? They started drowning because she was trying to carry her brother. And now they're in a life or death situation. And I don't know what to do. Their family don't know how to swim, and there's 9 of them. They're foreign. I don't even know who they are. They're in my pool. I don't even know why they're there. But the aspect of me needing to act or not act is fine. But when I looked at them and said, hey, you want me to do something about this? They screamed all, yes, please, save my child, save them. And I said, okay, took off my glasses, took off my ear, like I wear like hearing plugs, took them out, went over to that side. The the girl who was really small was drowning. She's floating to the bottom like a little buoy. It's like, ooh, and I can see that because I had my eyes open and everything. Did it matter if I did or was successful or not? Probably in the grand scheme of things, no. But what I did was I picked up the bodies with my skill, my muscle, and I said underwater because I couldn't breathe and hold them. So I held my breath underwater for about a minute to minute and a half, and I held them to the side while they got picked up. And then the father jumped in before I even saved him in panic. and he jumped over, and now he's on my shoulders and he's on top of me, almost causing me to drown. But I didn't panic because I also been practicing holding my breath underwater, and I pushed him up. And the funny thing too is I was thinking, is it gay to touch a man's ass? Like, is it weird if I touch his ass? No, I'll wait to touch his feet. Then I pushed his feet up and he got out. The kids started to breathe again after CPR. And then the fire department came, and, the kids were all taken care of. Good day, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm not the person to ask that kind of question. I think like the world itself, so to speak, asks and I give. I don't really have to do that. I don't have to do anything at all. But in those kind of moments, my energy tells me to act. My energy tells me to do, and I just do what my energy tells me to do. And I use that kind of vaguely as we're talking that everything's fabricated, so to speak. I would use my life as a metaphor, or how I see things is I'm a dog chasing cars. I would chase cars for days and hours, and if I caught one, really, what would I do with it? I don't know. It's not really for me to say. But when something calls to me to do something, I act. And if I don't act, it's fine. There's always someone else in line to be like, hey, I'll do this or I'll do that. Does it really have to be anything? And that even comes to this podcast. Is this podcast really necessary for people? No, but it's entertainment, and it's exciting to hear people's aspects and bring them to light for your area or for those people who watch you. And I think that's the whole point. Sometimes it's just good to have a reflection out there, or have a ripple effect, just to see what happens, consequences and action, so to speak.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you, man, is that, as you say, you're just a dog chasing a car, and it seems that it seems that you're as you said, you're like a dog chasing a car, and you just act out, and you act in response to the energy or what in deep inside you calls to. And I think that you have you understand that those are simply characteristics to which you have evolved to, right? And that even a dog chasing a car, that it's chasing something irrationally, but there are biological and reasons to why it does it. And so I guess that so it seems that you have a trust, or you just have confidence in your own nature, and you just do it, you just follow it, and you do not question why it does that, right? Is that the safe way?
Yeah, I listen to my intuition and try to listen to what my conscious and subconscious are telling me by signals, signs, and it's really something you can't describe. Like one big teacher told me that if I start trying to talk about it, it's like a finger pointing to the moon, but you can't see the moon because you're focused on the finger. So basically, just speaking about it voids all constructs of the real truth. And deeply, I just feel that if I had to give it a metaphor or something that resonates with my character, it's just I go with the feeling. And as Bruce Lee said, don't think about it, just feel it. And I feel it like solely. And I don't know if that's the right term, and I don't know if it's a scientific term or the knowledge that everyone goes by, because everyone has a different way of looking at things. And
I definitely agree, man. Yeah, and I can see that. In some way, you could call it that you have faith in your own nature, and that what it tells you is something that you should do, and that's why you're doing it, because it's you have faith in what your nature is telling you. And I can see that it's some way similar to how, for example, people who experience supernatural experiences, right? They know that it might be unscientific or irrational, but they still have faith and confidence that in their own understanding of it, there's something that there's something that's pointing to it, right? Yeah, and you're right that it's not if you think about it or you talk about it, it loses its purpose. And so That's why, like, yeah, just forget about the finger pointing at it and just have faith that there is a moon out there. Yeah, that's that we're saying. Yeah, so. Mhm. So I guess that it's a every human being uses faith in some way every day of their lives, right? And I think that if someone doesn't have faith, they would be sort of psychopathic, and they would just act out of their own out of their own. Well, I can't describe how psychopaths think, but still.
I will say this. Hey, when I was in a psych ward, they labeled me as a psychopath. They labeled me as manic and just chaotic. And there was reasons for that, because there were certain circumstances that came about that they, for themselves, for their protection, were using misinformation or lying about certain things, and then my body would pick up on it, and then I would act against it, because I'd be like, "You're not telling me the full truth, are you?" But for them, they're like, "Well, just because they don't understand me, they had to be cautious and play that kind of like scientific background, and they have to play by their precautions because they don't understand where I'm coming from." Um, but if you don't have faith in yourself, you have faith in others, and if you don't have faith in others, you have faith in God. It's just it's just a basis or a platform or just a ritual that keeps you kind of like steady. But ultimately, it comes back to just coming to your center, your one self, your soul, or just what makes you want to do things, and that is your willpower. Just from your experiences. Like, I had a difficult childhood, but I also had a loving childhood. There was a lot of beautiful moments, beautiful things, but there was a lot of traumatic stuff happening as well. And I don't look at it now. I used to look at it now like, oh, I am damned forever and I'm always going to have to live with these kind of like sad thoughts and sad things. No, once I learned to heal, once I learned to, put like words to emotions, and then understand why I was feeling this way, understand what I was going through, then it became easier to deal with, and then my body just started to heal itself, and then one came after another, and now I feel good. And do I feel good because I'm good? I don't know. I feel good because my body's telling me I'm comfortable, I'm happy, I have nothing in my mind holding me back from my own being, and that's where I feel center, clarity, almost euphoric in a way that I'm not like held back from my true self because of a past experience or past kind of regrets, so to speak. I feel like I am making one with the world itself in a way. So yeah, if that makes any sense to that. And yeah, and I think going back to the whole psychotic thing, I think some people do get detached in one way or form, and it's hard to say what they're going through unless I'm in that story, unless I am them, so to speak. So I can't speak for a psychotic person. I think just some people get lost in either high mania or low depression, and that emotion affects them in multiple ways, so to speak.
Wait, yeah, I have an understanding of psychology, but you wouldn't. I think you won't agree with my definition, but I don't think there's actually any psychopaths, or there's really no people with mental disorders. For example, yeah, because what we call normal, or what is a normal human being, is basically something is a social construct, because we ourselves are simply products of constant mutations that have been able to reproduce, right? And so we're not really the normal. We're yeah, that's what evolution is, right? Mutations to mutations. And in a way, I would say that, for example, if you would describe people with mental disorder as someone who was biologically damaged, then what, for example, if you say that their behavior is psychopathic, I would respond to you that, for example, as you act because of what your energy or what is your body is telling you, and that's what they're doing as well, right? And they're just following what their biology tells them, and we call that psychopathic because that doesn't fit the line that we think is normal, right?
Or what we fathom as society's truth or society's way of things. And I think people want order. People don't want that chaos of like man eat man, a Highlander kind of aspect. And society was placed there to kind of like, we got to make sure everyone's on the same page and everyone's here. But does a human or a deer or any kind of animal was born with a watch? No, they just know what to do instinctively. And you're right to like evolution. I think more different perspectives. The more perspectives we gain as a character, the more doors that we see. And if we have more options to situations, then we have ultimately evolved in a way that we don't construct ourselves into one narrow path. The more doors that are open to us, so to speak, perspective-wise, there is an evolution that says, hey, this problem doesn't need to just be one side or the other. It's a whole dimension. So it's like not just a box, it's outside the box, so to speak. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm lost in it. And then we lose track of the main point. But I get what you're saying too, is just, it does, we do evolutionize, we do evolve from learning from one another. And for me, ultimately, I think you brought out some truth here. Ultimately, my goal is to create a better me, a better self-awareness. And if it comes in a, let's say, evil form, say a better enemy, a better fighter to combat me, good. I want to have a challenge. I want to have a beautiful dance with someone that counters me. And I welcome that, because that's what makes life exciting, is not knowing what's out there to really balance me out. Because if I'm doing all this good stuff, there has to be another me out there doing a lot of bad stuff. And I'm okay with that, because that person will come for me, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it's not even a person. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's something I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's death. And I really like that, there's mystery to the world that incites me. And that's like the darkness of and Taoism, is that, you have all this light in the beginning. You have all this, well-lit luminosity, like you're just illuminating with energy and light. And then you take that and you go deep into darkness, and then you see what comes from it. And sometimes you can get lost, like a rabbit going down the rabbit hole, or like a astronaut losing its tether to his spaceship. And then you're kind of floating out there and you lose touch with yourself. Cool. Sometimes you can bring yourself back somehow, and then you get back and you go back to the center. You can take that and play with it and change it to whatever you like. And I think that's the beauty of life, is that you can have many different flavors. Why don't we just have one universal flavor that everyone likes? Vanilla. No, some people like that blue raspberry bullshit, or the watermelon. And watermelon artificial flavor, it's not the same taste as watermelon, but gosh darn it, it does taste pretty darn good on an ice cream.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That you're putting yourself in a position where you can keep learning, and you're continually questioning even yourself, your own position. And I guess that the pursuit of truth is the truth. That nobody really currently has or is in the absolute truth, right? And nobody has the perfect knowledge right now. Yeah.
That we know of. We don't know that there's someone that out there has the truth. And if they do have it, they probably don't want to say it. They probably don't want to talk about it. They'll lock their doors. And I've been a part of a couple philosophy groups, and there's been some wise characters. And then when I try to pursue them, they immediately lock their door. They immediately shut up about it. They're like, no, go away. And I'm just like, that guy knows. That guy knows what's
Yeah,
up. And
someone who would keep that knowledge from the world would probably be have a knowledge that isn't the perfect one, because I guess that if someone truly knows the perfect truth, I think they would definitely share it, right? And I think that they know that the world deserves to know the truth. But yeah, I guess that you when we talk about you, that you recognize that you could be wrong and you could be right, and that's a good mentality, man. And I definitely, yeah.
it's balance. And I would like to say too, when it comes to sharing, as you said, I think it goes back to the tree. The tree collectively collects light. And a thing when it comes to a rainforest, I realized and learned from reading a book, is that they don't try to fight each other. They try to work collectively to gain knowledge, or not knowledge, but light, to absorb and grow together. And when one tree succeeds, another tree succeeds, and they collectively are growing towards the light and embracing it and embodying it and letting it make them grow without, question. And I see that as human beings, we are collectively working together to gain data, knowledge, and kind of work in our own way. But there is a lot of conflict. That's fine. I get it. And I really resonate with what you said. Like, if there is a truth and it's the right truth, it would come forward. And I think with time, with, patience, it could come out. Probably not in my lifetime, probably not in the next 100 years. And I'm okay with that. As long as I'm okay with my journey and I'm experiencing things and I'm learning about things, and I don't feel bad about my actions. And, you can feel bad about your actions if you want to, but if I don't feel bad about it, what kind of negativity am I going to have when I do leave? I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be like, you know what? It was a good ride. It's time to go. It's time to go, and that yeah, that makes sense. No, you're fine. I don't want to, I ramble a lot.
Yeah, but for example, if you describe yourself as a dog chasing a car, but then for example you chased the car to the point it brought you to a highway, and you got hit by a big truck because you didn't know, but at least that you're happy chasing the car, right? That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, the driver who hits me is going to be like, shit. The person who was watching in the rearview mirror is like, oh no. And then, the people who love me are going to be like, no, my dog, and that's fine, but the thing that I leave behind with the people who I love, I leave my resonance of memory and what good I've done to them. When, I changed their life in some way by being there for them. And, when I was going through my, madness and, thinking I was dying, people come to me and it's like, Dalton, we want you here. Whatever we got to do to keep you alive, man, we're here for you. And people would come all around because that means that I resonated in some way or some form, that they just want to keep growing around me and growing around my energy. And that's fine. And also when it comes to seeing that happen on their highway, or like say the dog dies on the highway, I'm the dog. People seeing that, they're like, man, I'm not going to chase a car on the highway. That was dumb. Yeah, and that's fine. We're learning from each other. And it's okay if I make mistakes and fall, because then someone can learn from me and do better from my experiences, so they can watch out.
Yeah, but what's funny is a Christian would remember you as that you didn't die being on the highway. You just kept suffering, and you were alive, but you just kept suffering for all eternity. That's how the Christian would remember you. And the fact,
that's how they would remember me.
The fact is, we never really know if you got hit on the highway or you just didn't exist. Yeah. So I guess that's a metaphor for life. And I want to ask you one last question, bro, because it's been great talking to you.
Sure.
And
of course, you too, man. I really like your voice too. You really got a very good podcast kind of voice there. I like it.
Thanks,
I dig.
man. I want to ask you a question. For example, being just a happy dog chasing a car and just being yourself, and just following your energy. How would you, as an individual, do good or make a good difference in the world?
That's a good question. I would say it does definitely come down to individual. Like, no one can be me. No one can be Dalton Serdynski. You could definitely try and put like a cape on me and call me a Superman and then have the idolization of Superman. No. It wouldn't matter. I think it's just have people that inspire you. What speaks to you? Like some people, even people who are lost, they would tell me they revere serial killers like the Columbine or the Unabomber or something, dark. Let the world inspire you and let the world speak to you in a manner, and whatever it tells you, let that energy guide you to what makes you happy. And that happiness is not for me to bestow on a person or say, hey, you need to go that way, brother, or you're going the wrong way. And no, if they want to go the wrong way, I'm going to laugh if they're falling their asses off or whatever comes to them. I'm going to be like, that's great, brother, have fun. And, I'm going to keep going my way because that's just me. That's who I am. That's what keeps me going. So if I had to say something that would make you good, listen to those mentors, listen to those people who teach you things, listen to those people you love. If you can love them, you can definitely love yourself. And a big thing that really helped me, and it took me 30 years to really accept, was loving myself, because I had a hard time. I've had difficult time figuring out myself. It's to, be guided by what makes you feel good. What, when you love somebody and you can be compassionate, you can let down your guard and you can share what you've been through and not feel judged and feel like a part of something bigger than yourself, then you want to embrace that. You want to embody that. You want to become a part of whatever makes that goodness in yourself. And if that tells you to go to Christianity because it makes you feel good, go for it. If it tells you to go to Islam and pray for that, go for it. But ultimately, if the situation, I'd say, you lose that goodness and you're in a bad place, try to figure out where you're feeling bad. And a reference to Buddha himself, he's always smiling when he's in meditation. It's because if he's feeling bad, it's just like you just need to move. And if you move a little bit to the left, maybe move an inch to the right, and it feels good, you feel like you just can smile without a problem because you've dealt with that problem, so to speak. So really, you're listening to your good self or listening to what's good in your own body. It's just, just tweaking things, just moving around the fluctuation of good and bad, or just finding that balance in the center, if that makes sense. Again, it comes down to that philosophy of me pointing fingers at the moon and the moon itself. But if I had to fabricate any kind of guidance or a presence to a person, and just say, follow your teachers, follow the fathers or mother figures, and just listen to the nature itself in one way or another, and you will find it. Or even better, what the Buddhists have taught me is listening to yourself. Be silent, sit like a tree, be still, and let your intuition talk to you and see what comes out of your darkness. And man, that can be an eye-opening experience in itself, brother. So hopefully that wasn't too much, but yeah, it's definitely a good question. You said that. What's a good way to find good in your own self, man? That's a journey in itself, brother.
Thank you so much for being on the show, bro. And I hope you could guess in another one, and I could set you up with another conversation with someone else, and that would be an awesome conversation.
Ooh, that would be fun. That would be fun, really, for sure, man. Hey, dude, you take it easy, man. I'm gonna go eat some lunch and enjoy my day, brother. You take care.
So that's the end of it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is your host, Elmo Ador Jr., and thank you for listening in. And please subscribe. Please follow us on Facebook. Please follow this. Please. Thanks.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Holidays are here, and so is fashionable fitness. Gift yourself a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G, a phone that folds in half to literally stand on its own. Pair it with the Galaxy Watch 4 for ultimate wellness and wow factor. Check health stats, flex personal records. Over 90 activities can be tracked, like biking, swimming, golfing, and more. Invest in yourself with tech made to crush goals. Holidays open up with Galaxy. Shop it all at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier. Products sold separately.